Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. In the United States, votes are being counted after the midterm elections. Preliminary voting results indicate that they are closer than expected. Everything suggests that the House of Representatives will pass into the control of the Republicans, although not by the majority some commentators were forecasting. In the Senate, the result is still too close to call. Great emotion, shouts of delight, thunderous applause, tears of disappointment and bitter words spoken from the rostrums. America has never been so divided.
Is that when you lose an election, you concede. And you respect the will of the people.
According to current information from the electoral commissions, Republicans and Democrats each have 48 certain seats in the Senate. In the House of Representatives, on the other hand, the Republicans have the advantage and are already preparing to take over the lower chamber of the United States Congress.
But when you wake up tomorrow, we will be in the majority and Nancy Pelosi will be in the minority. Yeah. The American people are ready for a majority that will offer a new direction, that will put America back on track. Republicans are ready to deliver it. It's a new direction towards an economy that is strong, where you can fill up your tank, feed your family, where your paychecks grow and not shrink.
The deciding vote in the battle for the Senate was held in the so-called swing states of Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada and Arizona. Party colleagues of the incumbent president triumphed in 3 of them.
I never expected that we were going to turn these red counties blue, but we did what we needed to do, and we had that conversation across every one of those counties. And tonight, that's why I'll be the next U.S. Senator from Pennsylvania.
In Arizona, which is one of the swing states, there was damage to the vote counting machines. The failure occurred at 40 polling places in Maricopa County.
I woke up this morning and within minutes of the polls opening up, I started getting people calling, voters in tears, calling my personal number, saying, what's going on? The tabulators aren't working.
Don't leave your line. Stay where you are. They say that the machines aren't working. They say that they're running out of paper in different locations throughout different states. There's a lot of bad things going on.
A representative of Generation Z, or those born after 1997, will sit in the House of Representatives for the first time. The 25-year-old, an activist in favor of restricting the right to own guns, won a seat in Florida. The Democratic candidate will become one of the youngest congressmen in United States history. I am Congressman-elect Maxwell Alejandro Frost, and I will be the first member of Generation Z in the United States Congress. We made history. Don't count young people out. Despite initial predictions, the Republican Party failed to win spectacularly in congressional elections. There is no red wave as such. It was an exaggeration to say that it was going to sweep someone away. Here there were not even such expectations. The point was that the polls showed that the Republicans could win some slight advantage in the House of Representatives, as well as in the Senate. The loss of the House of Representatives is a serious problem for President Biden, which he will face on a daily basis during legislative work, and he will have to seek cross-party support for his initiatives. Economics, inflation, immigration, security and the abortion laws were the themes which dominated the election campaign in the United States. The midterm elections in California were watched by our correspondent, Malgorzata Schultz.
Many polling stations were open the week before the election, and in some states, people could even register on Election Day. The most dominant issues in this election were inflation, abortion, immigration, gun ownership laws, and crime. In June, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the U.S. Constitution does not grant the right to abortion. As a result, 5 states have organized a vote to adopt local regulations related to abortion. Montana and Kentucky are set to tighten abortion laws, while in Vermont, Michigan, and California, voters voted on an amendment to the state constitution to provide access to abortion. Why are the election results in California important? The former position of Vice President Kamala Harris is now held by California Democrat Alex Padilla. All indications are that he received enough votes to represent California in Washington for another term. The Golden State is the most populous in the U.S. and has as many as 53 representatives. By comparison, Pennsylvania has 18 representatives, Texas has 36, and New York has 27. If the Republicans win a majority in the House of Representatives, it is likely that Republican Kevin McCarthy, a California native, will take over for Speaker Nancy Pelosi. From Los Angeles for TV Republika, Małgorzata Schulz.
Day 259 of the war in Ukraine. Russia's defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, ordered Russian forces to leave the right bank of the Dnieper because it is no longer possible to hold Kherson. According to the commander of the invasion forces, Russian defense will now focus on the eastern bank of the Dnieper. In turn, Ukrainian troops entered Snihurivka at night, and they continue to fight for every kilometre in Donbas. For several weeks now, Russia has been attacking Ukraine's critical infrastructure using Iranian fighter drones. Ukraine is currently working to restore the power grid to full capacity. Nearly 4 million Ukrainians remain without electricity. Step by step, we are striving to regain control of our occupied territories in the east. At the same time, work is underway to restore normal life in the liberated areas. In the last day alone, we have restored natural gas and electricity supplies to more than 1,000 households in the Kharkiv region. Specially formed units of technicians are working to seal the gas system in one village 5 kilometers from the front line. The infrastructure is damaged by Russian shelling. Gas is reaching residents again after a 3-month hiatus. We work in different conditions. Sometimes it's calm, sometimes we come under fire. We try to do our work quickly and as well as possible to restore the flow of gas. The villages near the front lines are experiencing the biggest problems with lack of energy and gas. Their residents, in addition to the constant struggle against the occupiers, are preparing for the next big battle, with winter approaching. We live in a basement. As for water, it is sometimes provided by the fire department, and sometimes we draw water from a well next to the house. At first we cooked on an open fire, now on a gas stove. We bought gas cylinders, but we have to save because there are not many in the area. Ukrainian soldiers are constantly shelling Russian positions both on the Donetsk border and on the outskirts of Lugansk. Currently, the most intense fighting is going on in Donbas. Polish Krab self-propelled howitzers are helping Ukrainian forces to conduct an effective counter-offensive. From my observations, we are gaining a slight advantage. On the part of the enemy, attacks are fewer and fewer. Maybe it's because of the lack of ammunition or poor logistics. Apparently, people on the Russian side are complaining a lot. With us, everything is fine. We are advancing several kilometers every day. I think that here in the Lugansk region, the intensity of the fighting will soon decrease. This will be influenced by the worsening weather. Meanwhile, the United States yesterday announced another package of humanitarian support for Kiev. Problems in the energy supply are just the tip of the iceberg of the worries of Ukraine's residents. Cities are also running out of water and food.
I visited an IDP collective center partially funded by USAID, which is ensuring displaced people have food, shelter, warmth this coming winter. And there I was proud to announce an additional $25 million from USAID to support vulnerable people in Ukraine during the harsh winter ahead. These new funds will expand on our winterization, planning, and response efforts and scale up assistance to nearly 75,000 of the most affected households.
Russian Security Council Secretary Nikolai Patrushev was in Tehran yesterday for consultations. Topics discussed included Russian support for work on Iran's nuclear program. Russia has been languishing for a long time on this very issue. To some extent, Russia was bound to be supplemented by Iran. The fact that Patrushev showed up is significant because this is not a man of small business. Therefore, if he showed up, it means that Iran is getting caught up with something bigger. According to numerous analyses, cooperation between Russia and Iran is becoming ever closer. According to the government of Kiev, the Russians have so far bought about 2,400 Iranian drones. And according to British intelligence, the Kremlin sent 140 million euros in cash to Iran in early August. Meanwhile, the West is trying to stop further deals between the two countries to limit Moscow's military capabilities. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki and Slovak Prime Minister Eduard Heger observed the Puma 22 military manoeuvres of the Visegrad Group countries, the United States and the United Kingdom at the Nowa Dęba training ground in Podkarpacia province in Poland.
These maneuvers show our unity. They show our solidarity. They also show our strongest military alliance in the history of the world. The North Atlantic Pact, NATO, is a real force. It is a real force that resists all aggression. We need to build an army so strong that ideally it does not have to fight, so that by its sheer strength it can deter the enemy.
Samą swoją siłą odstraszała wroga.
Today's times show us that economic alliances, economic partnerships are not enough. We need to go further. Just what we are seeing, just what we are observing, with the example of this barbaric war in Ukraine. We see that our alliance, our partnership, must exist in the security field of protecting our citizens. As has been said, we must invest in equipment, in armaments, in the armed forces.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.